Hi folks, welcome to the Prepared Homestead. This is Travis. Thank you all for stopping by to watch. Are you getting just tired of all of this? Are you just in a kind of a lull of just energy and focus when it comes to all the stuff that's going on? Maybe some of you have not hit that point. And if you haven't, then good on you. But I think a lot of people are. The feedback that I'm getting from people online and in my local area seems to be that a lot of people are they've kind of hit a wall, so to speak. There's been so much going on for years now, and it just keeps intensifying. And if you notice, there's like this buildup, and it gets very intense, and it may last for a few weeks at a time. Where it just seems like we are on the verge of a nuclear war. We are on the verge of a complete financial collapse. We're on the verge of, absolute civil war and chaos in the streets. And then it'll slow down and we'll go through a week or two of seemingly not a lot of really big stuff happening, even though there is stuff happening. It's not as intense, right? So the intensity level comes down. We seem to get a little bit of a break. We're able to breathe a sigh of relief, and then it picks up again. And we've been going through cycles like that for the last 3 or 4 years. And I think a lot of people are getting to the point that they're wondering if this is just the new norm. If these types of cycles, that it will not necessarily ever get a lot worse. It's just that it gets bad, and then it gets better, and then it gets bad, and then it gets better. And it's not really getting better. The better anymore is just not as intense. It's not like things all of a sudden turn around and go back the other way where it's actually good times. It's just the good times now are basically defined as not a lot of bad stuff happening. And that's pretty sad. And I think that what happens, and again, I could be wrong, but I think it's just kind of a human thing that we become burnout, so to speak. Not burnout on, prepping necessarily, or burnout on, building our homestead and doing our gardens and building our communities. We're burnout on all of the stuff. We're burnout on the intensity of it. And we get to a place where, I don't know, it's whatever. The world's falling apart. What can you do about it? And it's been falling apart for a while. And the thing is as much has happened over the last 3 years or so, I think a lot of you realize that it's not even really started yet. I mean, this has been like the pre-game show that we've been watching for the last few years. It's just kind of showing you, giving you little, bits and pieces here and there of what it's gonna be like and how bad it could be. We haven't even really hit the full stride yet, according to all the things that are going on and what they want to do and change the world between now and the year 2030. All this going on and the potential for you to feel this way in some way, shape, or form. Some of you have at some point most likely had this kind of, I'm just tired, I'm burnt out, I can't stay focused, I don't want to think about this, I just want to have a normal day. I just want to clean my house, take care of the kids, I just want to go off to work, I just want to have a little family trip and do something, and I don't want to think about this anymore. I don't want to think about the fact that I have to be more vigilant when I'm out in public because the increase in violence is just spreading everywhere. I don't want to think about having to be so vigilant in protecting my children against all this stuff. I just want to be able to sit down and watch a movie with them, or sit down and talk or read a book, and take them to the library or take them to some place fun and not have to worry about what they might see and hear, because there's so much of this wickedness being spread around and specifically focused on our children. I just want to have a normal life. That is, I think, a deep desire for a lot of people. And I wish I had just the right thing to say. I wish I did. I wish I could just say, hey, do this and this will fix it. Think this way and it'll fix it. Understand and realize stuff this way and you'll be fine. It'll be fixed. I wish I could. I wish I had that. But I don't. I don't. And I find myself understanding this because of, the feelings in my own life and our own family, the people around us, and the feedback that I'm getting from a lot of you. I understand it. And while I don't know that I have any great deep words of knowledge to fix these problems and these feelings that everyone is kind of feeling, we have to understand that I would say there's a pretty good chance that this is part of the plan. This is part of the Psyop, is to wear us down this way, to get us in an intense way and fearful way and then back down. It's a form of it slips my mind, but it's a form of type of, torture and brainwashing, something probably very similar to like an MK Ultra style of manipulation, psychological manipulation, where we go through periods of intense fear and intense panic, only to be brought back down to just calmness and telling you that everything's okay. It's not really a big deal. All that stuff that happened, the fact that I abused you and I beat you and I got you to a point that you thought you were going to die, that's in the past and it's okay. And now it's all nice and calm again. And now we're just going to be happy-go-lucky Americans, only for next week or the week after for it to be intense again, and that we're all going to die and we're at the edge of complete annihilation, only to be calmed back down again to just normal life. It is, I believe, being done purposefully, and we have to understand that. And I don't know that necessarily makes it easier to get through, but at least knowing what is being done to us, I think, is in itself just a level of preparation. We have to understand that what we are feeling right now, what many of you are feeling right now, where you're at a place that you're kind of burnt out, you're just tired of this, you either want it to just completely fall apart, just let's get it on. Let's lock and load and get it on. Or can we just go back to, what it used to be? And the thing is we're not going to get either of those. And it's going to be probably quite a while before we're at the lock and load point. That could happen soon. It's possible. But it still may be years away. I think we're going to see a lot of what we've seen already. Things progressively get worse, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. That 1 step back makes us kind of feel like, yeah, it was really bad, but it's almost back to where it was. Not quite, but it's gotten just a little bit better. Okay, then it falls, forward 2 steps into the danger zone, and then it kind of 1 step back. Well, it got a little bit better for a while, even though every time we're moving closer and closer to that complete collapse, destruction point, We have to prepare for this just as much as we're preparing for all those times that we take those 2 or 3 steps forward and it gets really bad. I think that the manipulation of the human mind and psyche is a huge focus for the globalist world leader, Marxist, cabal, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them. It's also really big in the corporate world, and that's how they learn to manipulate your emotions and your thinking to get you to buy their product. It's everywhere and all around us. And so we need to be consciously aware of that, and we need to be fighting against it, working hard to stay focused and to not allow ourselves to panic, not allow the bad times to get to us to the point that we're in a state of frenzy, and that we're kind of losing our focus because we're terrified that, you know, these things have happened in the last few days and it could completely implode on itself. And then also when things are calm, not allow the calmness to get us into such a melancholy state that we're just, oh, well, it's okay again. We need to try to find a happy medium, a medium that we're alert, that we are moving forward, we're working actively towards preparations and understanding of what's going on around us. And yet at the same time, understanding that we have to take breathers. We have to also focus on just our family and just normal life, building relationships, you know, potentially building a future for ourselves and our family, a normal future. We have to do both. And it's difficult, and it's probably difficult for most of us because we've never experienced that before. We've lived, for the most part, and I'm generally speaking, but most of us have grown up in a world that things were pretty good most of the time. And there were more good times, a lot more good times than there were bad times. And so we didn't have to fear all of this loss and destruction and chaos and sorrow and everything. We only had to experience those things just once in a while, and then they were kind of quickly gone away, and then the normalcy came back again. We don't live in that world anymore. And so because that's all we've known, and that's what we were conditioned to believe that that's how it was going to be, now that world has died and gone away, we're stuck with this one, and it's hard. It's hard to rewire our thinking. But we have to do that. We have to do that to get through, not just to survive, but to also survive with our sanity. Because we live in an insane world. We absolutely live in an insane world. It's like the whole world in unison has just lost its mind. And the things that are being done and said and normalized and pushed and praised, it's absolute craziness. The things that are coming out of people's mouths, even people that you would think are serious, respectable looking kind of people, the lies and the ridiculousness, it's hard to kind of take in. And so it's very easy to see that we are kind of living in an insane world. We have to push through all the weeds and push through just the muck that's ahead of us and around us and behind us, and try to train ourselves to live in this new world and understand that it is survivable. We can make it. The human mind and body and soul is much more capable of the things than what we give it credit for. And so we can get through it, and we can stay focused, and we can keep ourselves from becoming downtrodden and depressed and all of that kind of stuff if we rely on our clear thinking and kind of that gut feeling and that clear understanding of what we know is right and wrong. Of course, the most important thing, leaning on God the Father and His Son, getting into the Word, because that's where we find our strength. And then I think finally is kind of forgetting the world for a while. Just forget it. Forget what's going on. It matters, but it doesn't matter. And put our focus where it immediately matters, and that's in our families and our little groups, our tribes, our between ourselves, our husbands or our wives, our children, and those loved ones immediately around us. Putting our focus in that, so that those people that we know personally and that we're willing to live and die for, that we're going to make it because we're working together to get through all this. Those are kind of the focuses that I think we really need to be putting. It is good, I think, to be aware of what's going on in the world. And I've said this many times before, because it gives us kind of a gauge. It's kind of like a roadmap, so to speak, of where we're going and maybe how fast we're going to get there. But let's not put so much emotion into it to where we can't get that it puts us in a place that we can't function, or that it's difficult for us to function, because as much as all this bad stuff is going on, it's going on because it's orchestrated, and it's meant to go on because they're trying to push us to a certain point in history. And we have to realize that real life is continuing. The birds are still flying around and chirping, the fish are still swimming, the deer are still running around eating, the garden's still growing, the sun's still shining for now. And we just have to move on with life and understand that while those things that are happening and the things that they are orchestrating absolutely affect us, we don't have to let them control us. And so don't allow it to get you down. Don't allow it to burn you out, because I think it's very easy for a lot of people for it to happen. We have to continue getting ourselves and our houses in order, and in this instance, very much psychologically and spiritually, because it's just that important. It's all a big psyop, folks, and they're trying every little angle so that they can get all the different folks out there, and this is just one of them to wear us down. Get your houses in order, folks, and prepare mentally, physically, and spiritually. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.